Hi everyone. You might know me. My name is Mahlie Jewell, and I'm a national mental health advocate. I spend the majority of my time advocating for people who have a lived experience of borderline personality disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, panic disorder, and generalized anxiety, and who have also overcome extreme trauma. I have been in isolation now for 12 days due to the COVID-19 virus. As I'm sure many others who live with mental health issues and chronic health issues, I am a vulnerable person. And so I made the decision 12 days ago to self-isolate in my home. And since then, I have not had any direct contact with any other humans. So I wanted to do a quick video to let you know how I'm managing my mental health. It's been up and down the last 12 days, definitely, as things become more serious and we get to the stage where we're about to go into lockdown here in New South Wales. It's going to get a lot harder, but I wanted to share with you some of the things that I was doing to manage my mental health, to manage my anxiety, to manage my panic, and to just keep myself healthy and well and engaged with the world, as well as engage with myself. So there are a few things that I have been doing. I have to say that even 12 days in, I am nowhere near bored. I have so many wonderful projects and ideas that I've been trying to find time to work on. And this is a great opportunity for me to do that. I'm lucky in that my university has moved online, and even though I'm doing a master's in art therapy, they've worked out a way that we can actually still be in class and learn without having to be in the same room. And we've been using the capabilities of Zoom to do that. And it's been great. So I have had classes and been able to contact my classmates and, still do uni work and talk about that stuff. But some of the things that I'm doing day to day, I think might be a little bit more helpful for some of you out there who might not have those existing tasks to do. So the first thing that I did actually on one of my first days, this is my pug Skylar, sorry, she's probably going to be popping up, is a couple of days in, I started to have really, really bad mental health. And I had one day that was just horrible. And it was constant rolling panic attacks. And I was constantly crying and really inconsolable. And I felt really scared and just like completely hopeless. And so I decided to shake that off. And I decided to go in and get myself a bit of a game plan. So what I did was I actually created this list. And so this is a list of the things that I strive to do within the day. And obviously I tick off what I have done and go from there. The really important thing about this list is that there's no penalties for me not achieving everything. It's goals that I'm trying to achieve, and I'm gentle and kind with myself around those things. So if I have a day where I can't do like anything, or I can only do two things on the list, that's okay. And I shake that off, and then the next day becomes, yet again another challenge. So some of the things that I have on this list is really practical things. So I take morning medication. I'm super bad normally at like staying on top of that because I do tend to rush out of the house a lot. So for me, like that's definitely in. I also have severe health anxiety as I suffered a brain injury and a stroke very suddenly when I was 28, and that was very scary. And so I do have really quite serious health anxiety where, you know, I worry about my health. So for that, what I've done is I allow myself to take my temperature twice a day, just to give myself peace of mind, but I don't exceed that. So I'm not allowed to take it every hour, even if my panic brain tells me to. I take it twice a day and that's it. And I really restrict myself. I have 2 cats as well as a dog. So they keep me really busy in terms of cleaning. So I clean up all after them. I'm very lucky in that my dog Skylar is well behaved. So she actually goes out by herself into the front garden that I have. So yeah, I make sure that every day I try and do the dishes. I see whether my bins need to be taken out or I need to vacuum. I clean my bedroom and I make my bed every single day. That's really important for me. I get out of that room and I actually don't go into my bedroom until I'm ready to go to bed. I try and read 1 chapter of a book per day. I also do 1 art task a day, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And I also practice 1 DBT skill a day, at least. So I'm also going to talk a little bit more about that as well. I try, if I can, to check in with at least 2 friends. And when I say check in, that can be having a conversation with them, having a Zoom session with them, video conferencing. I've been starting to actually do dinner with friends over video, which has been super helpful. So we both kind of just organize, right, 6 o'clock, we're going to Zoom, we're both going to sit down and eat dinner, and we're going to have that time where we don't look at anything else but each other and we talk about things. We try also to really limit the amount of conversations that we're having around the virus and around our fears. We do that, but like it can be like 5 minutes and then one of us will say, all right, cool, like what else is happening? So that's a really good thing for me as well. On that, I also give myself a limit on the amount of news I take in. So I've got 2 restrictions on that for me. So the first thing is that I'm only allowed to look at news or read stories about COVID-19 for 30 minutes a day. I'm also only allowed to read them from what I would consider to be more reputable sites. So I only read the news from ABC and SBS and The Guardian. That is it. I do not read news from any other publication because there's so much fake news out there. There is so much panic news out there that I look at who I can trust here, and that's where I go from. And that's what I do. And it's 30 minutes and that is really strict for myself. There's no need to go and read some of the stuff that's coming out. It's not going to help you. It's not going to change anything that you do. If you're self-isolating, you're doing the best that you can. You're doing great. So don't put more pressure on you. You know, don't worry about things. Stay inside your house, stay safe, practice social distancing and all of the things that we've already been told to do. Try and keep yourself as healthy as possible. I also make sure that I take some vitamins because I'm not going outside. I got some D3 vitamins, which is vitamin D, obviously we get from the sun. So I take that, and I also take a super B, or a B12 with other different B vitamins in it, and that's to boost my overall health. I'm also a vegan, so I don't eat animal products, and we get a lot of our B12 from meat because the animal has eaten grass and then they produce B12. So I take B12. It really helps for your mental alertness and your body alertness. And I also take just a multivitamin. I really am trying to be as on top of that as I can be. The other thing that I do is I organize spaces. So I have a small 1-bedroom apartment, but I'm normally too busy to clean out that. You know, we've all got that kitchen drawer where you throw everything in, or the bathroom cabinet that kind of becomes a bit of a nightmare. Today I cleaned out my entire pantry and freezer just so I knew like what I had. I'm not sure if many people are aware of this, but at the moment, Woolworths delivery is coming back online after dropping off for a while. They have a priority list. So if you're somebody who has a disability or has a chronic illness and you're self-isolating, you can actually acknowledge that with them. You can go onto their website and apply to be put on their priority list deliveries. That means that we'll be getting goods delivered as a first priority, and they'll do their best to deliver within a week. They've been great with that. It didn't take a lot of information for me to get put on that list, so I really recommend that as well. They've been wonderful throughout this, and I have to say, like, for everybody who's working in retail, thank you so much for everything that you've been doing. If you're still out and about in shopping centres and things like that, please be kind to the retail workers. They are doing the best they can with what they have. We are not going to run out of food. We are not going to run out of supplies. Australia is an island that produces the majority of goods here on our island. So we're not going to run out of things. We will run out of things if people continue to stockpile and panic buy and take things from other vulnerable people. This is a lesson for us to be kinder to each other, to be kinder to our planet, to share more, to really connect more as human beings. So be nice and be calm and be rational with the way that you're thinking. Australia is one of the richest countries in the first world. We have a lot of privilege here. So although we're going to be hit hard by this and it will stretch our health systems, remember as well that we have universal healthcare here. So the majority of us have actually proactive healthcare, which means that our general health as a baseline is higher than most other countries, especially countries even like the US, where they don't have universal healthcare. So as a group and as a population, we're actually a lot healthier than some other countries who are being hit quite hard with this. So it's important to, be rational, use your wise mind, and remember those things when, the panic and anxiety starts to kind of get on you a little bit. So yeah, I also have other things on the list that are really nice things. So I make sure that I take 2 showers a day because showers are really relaxing for me. So standing actually in warm water, or if you can't do that, submerging your hands in warm water for up to 2 minutes can actually lower your blood pressure and increase your blood flow. I learned that while I was on the stroke ward, actually. It's also a wonderful place to cry. And it's very cathartic to stand with water or be submerged in water and cry and let it out. And I do that, I go in there and just cry and cry and cry. And that's okay. I feel better after I do that. And it's okay to be scared and it's okay to be sad and to feel all these things, but we just can't let them consume us. That's the issue. We don't want them to consume us and be the focal point of our entire day. So showers are really, really helpful for me. I try and watch something funny. I try and get my head a little bit out of, this viral space and watch something that's going to make me laugh and going to take me out of this space. I feel like that's really important. It's really important that we do have some kind of joy in this world at the moment, because it doesn't kind of feel so joyful. My dog just knocked something off. That's fine. Some of the other things that I do as well is I do a lot of art. I was lucky enough to get this book, which is called The 99 Art Challenge, or Themes to Think About When Seeking to Activate Your Creativity on a Cloudy Monday or Just Because, as brought to you by your friends at the Sketchbook Project. So the Sketchbook Project is something that I'm currently doing. It's an amazing online art library run by Brooklyn Art Library. If you Google the Sketchbook Project, you can now purchase this book, which has all these amazing activities for you. There's one that I did the other day. And they say things like, draw a picture using words, or paint or draw a collage under the theme harmony for 5 minutes, make a miniature drawing, all of these amazing things. Draw the last person you talk to on the phone. you know, make a map of your hometown, all of these amazing things. You can now get this online. I think it's only like $7 for an online download. It's great for those times when you need a bit more directives. So I've been doing that as well. I'm obviously a very creative person. I also have this book, which is called 101 Things to Make and Do. And it's actually made for, I guess, kids, but I find it really helpful. And a lot of the things gets you using things that you just have normally, like lying around your house. And you can do really creative things with that. I think that's really cool. Think about it this way. When this is all over, it's going to be a massive fun party and everyone's going to get to see each other again, and it's going to be amazing. So start making little presents for your friends now. I also have a drawing journal, and this is really important to me. I put down all of my kind of thoughts, feelings. I do collages. I do things, you know, that are meaningful to me in here, you know, practice things, different kinds of techniques and stuff like that. You know, it's also a place for me as well to put down, you know, not when I'm not feeling super great, you know, when things are, you know, kind of hard as they are now. I do my pros and cons list about things like this. And I also do my strategies. So these were my strategies, for example, for getting through uni online. And so I've kind of looked at how can I better, you know, position myself to do better at uni and not get left behind, you know. So yeah, but just drawing everything, doing everyday stuff. I have been organizing my photographs from when I was overseas, and starting to draw from photographs actually. Now, the other thing that I do that for me is very important is, don't touch your face, Mahlie, sorry, is DBT skills. I'm very lucky in that I just finished training as a DBT skills facilitator, so I'm now qualified to do that. And I am lucky enough to have the DBT skills training handbook and worksheets made by the lovely Marsha Linehan. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going through these and I'm doing them. So every day I pick something new. I think at what I need. Do I need some distress tolerance? Do I need some emotional regulation? You know, have I had some conflict with a friend because of the stress levels? You know, need to kind of brush up on some interpersonal skills. And I literally just go and do some of the activities that are in here. You can download this. If you can't find a copy of it, you can email me and I'll actually send you. I have an electronic version of it as well, and I'll actually send it to you. That's absolutely fine. I think Marsha would understand in these circumstances. So it's just about going through and literally doing those things and trying to practice, you know, those skills and keep my mind, you know, together. Some of the things that I do as well is that I'm lucky enough that I've still got some work because I'm a freelance designer. So a lot of my clients are still going ahead with their design work that they need, which is really helpful for me. And so what I do is I actually write down everything I need to do with each project. And that's helpful for me. And then I cross it off. I also do things like, you know, put down like things that I want to do for the day. Yeah, the last thing probably that I can think of to kind of talk about is my sleep schedule. So I've always been a nocturnal person. That's just who I am. I am not a morning person. I'm not even a midday person. I'm okay with afternoons, but I prefer to be awake at night. For me, there's a couple of reasons for this. The first one is that it just seems to be my normal sleep cycle internally. So I've allowed my sleep cycle to go back to its normal pattern. I've stopped trying to force myself to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, because the things that I'm doing, I don't necessarily need it to be light outside to do them. One of the things that helps me as well is that when I work at night, it's quieter, it's more calm. There are less people around. I live in a unit complex and it's quite a big one, and so there are people everywhere and you can hear people talking and you can hear people's music and you can hear like people just living their life. And for me, that makes me a little bit anxious, because I'm worried about, who's gone where and touched what. And so one of the things that I've been doing is I've switched my sleeping cycle. That doesn't mean that I'm sleeping more though. I only sleep 10 hours a day at maximum. So for me, it will be different for everybody. But for me, my doctor has let me know that my optimal sleeping time is around 9 hours. And so she had said to me many, many times as well, do not exceed 10 hours. And so I don't. I set an alarm and I get up. I'm allowing that natural body rhythm to come back, and for me to be as awake as I can be when I'm awake, and as asleep as I can be when I'm asleep. I'm also doing some things with technology, although I'm trying to also have technology-free days. That's really important for my mental health as well. And it's important to think about in terms of how much you're moving around. So cleaning is good for me because it means that I'm moving around a lot. I always make sure that I listen to music when I clean, so I'm kind of clean dancing, and moving around. And I'm always like a little bit aware of how stationary I am some of the times. So I have kind of done a few of those, like, online yoga kind of workouts, I guess, as well, which are great for centering yourself, and also, a really calm, beautiful practice. But yeah, I'm still getting up and down and dancing and doing all that kind of stuff in my house, and having those technology-free days. Having said that, I am actually, using technology. So I play Words with Friends with my friends, and people in other countries, all over the world. And so I do that. I really like Scrabble and I really like games. And so it can be kind of a little bit boring to not have anybody to play with. So those kind of online platforms are really helpful for me. But that's just a few things that I've been doing. I'm also looking at running some art groups online. As you may or may not know, I have a drawing for distress tolerance and emotional regulation workshop that I do sometimes with people who struggle with those things. As face-to-face. I'm looking at ways to make that online and to make that something that's still interactive. So when I work out how I'm going to do that and how it's going to go, I'll let you know. And I would love for any one of you to come online for an hour a day also with me and do some art, and talk about how we can use art to help us during this really difficult time. So lastly, I just want to say, please be kind to yourself. On a really, I guess, personal note, if there are some of you who at the moment were kind of reliant on DBT programs and reliant on, really having that mental health treatment and contact, Australia has enabled telehealth contact. So I speak to my psychologist, once a week via Zoom, and that's covered by Medicare now. Check to see if your clinicians can do that as well. I'd love to see online DBT groups happen, but that's probably going to take some time for us to sort out within that sector. But honestly, for those of you who are now kind of like stuck inside and you were relying on these things and were maybe still at the point where you're using, I guess, less optimal, ways of coping. So for some of you out there who may be using self-harm and other forms of self-injury to cope, I want to let you know that A, you're doing the best that you can with what you have, but B, you can always get more. So during this time, it's really important for you to, as much as possible, minimize those behaviors, because we are going to have some higher risk you know, with that type of behavior. You know, many of you might know, and I talk about quite openly, that, you know, I struggled with self-harm for 25 years, and I know that it's not easy to stop, and I know that it serves, you know, a purpose in that short term, but long term it's not a great strategy. So I'm really hopeful that you might consider even just trying some of the things that I have spoken about, or some of your own ideas, to replace some of that behavior during this time. I want you to know that you deserve more than that. You deserve more than hurting yourself. You are in no way, you know, a bad person or somebody who deserves that type of pain. But I also want to let you know that I see you, and that I hear you, and that I understand you. But let's try and reach out to those around us who love us, and get through this period of, you know, scary and anxious time, safely as possible. The world really, really needs you, really needs people like you, to lead the way. And so I'm hopeful that you might be able to find through this some other options and other choices to make. And if you feel that you can't, please make sure that you're still engaging with mental health professionals, and please don't think that the world has left you behind. Lifeline is still open. The suicide callback service is still open. There are many other helplines that are still there. They're still available. Reach out to people that you might know within your community who are peer support workers, who are mentors, who are other people, carers with lived experience. Talk to each other, connect with each other. You know, use the resources available to us right now. We're all in the same boat, so we're all alone together. So don't forget that. Stay safe. Try as hard as you can to stay calm, and think of this as the Mother Earth's, I guess, request to have some downtime, to relax and repair for herself. All you have to do is stay inside and stay safe. Everything else, you know, it's up to you. You can come up with great things to do while inside. We live in an age where we have so much available at our fingertips. Don't let yourself get bored. Be as creative as you possibly can. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. All right. Bye, guys.